Welcome back, guys. My name is Andrew Cole. Thanks for tuning in to Cole the Diamonds. So today I took a day trade on the Qs. I let this first 15-minute candle form. As soon as I marked off the top, as soon as it broke the top, I entered a long call, and I knew that the trend was my friend at this point. We were up into the overbought area, which is fine during the day. So I stayed with this all the way up here, saw the bounce back, and I sold off just as this candle was forming. Made about a, with the capital used, about a 50% return, but on the entire account, about a 2.5% return. Now just looking out into next week, on the daily chart we can see that we're getting a bit of a bounce here, moving back up into the moving averages. We do have low volume, but with this engulfing candlestick that we got today, closing above the 25-day moving average, I think there's a good chance that we'll get something similar to what we had back here, where we move above the 25-day. Probably, unless we get more volume, probably won't even fully touch or test the 50-day, and we'll come back down. We'll see, maybe we'll end up getting some more volume. You can tell we came down and touched this long-term resistance that I had marked off all the way back from, let's see. My little mouse isn't working. Well, that's okay. I don't know why it's doing that. But that was from about 3 years back, I believe. We're coming down close to COVID levels in this bear market, and trend is still continuing down. As you can see here on the stochastic, we are getting a bit of an uptrend, just like we had about a month ago, I believe this was. Let's see, it started after the last FOMC meeting, I believe. We had a run up. So yeah, about a month ago, having the same thing here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a full run up to the overbought area to 80%, and then come back down. So some things that I'm looking at is I've been watching Meta. It's definitely been hammered down. We got an engulfing candlestick today. The stochastic is moving up, coming into some moving averages. The 50-day has definitely been pretty strong resistance for it. So I wouldn't doubt if we see it bounce off of there. I'm keeping an eye on AMD as well. I really like Meta, the graphs on Meta and AMD. Here we're getting something similar with an engulfing candlestick coming up into the 25 and 50-day moving averages. Previously, this one went all the way up to, I believe this was the 200-day moving average that I have marked off. So we'll see if we get a run up like that again. Although we're still below average volume, so we'll definitely need some more volume to be able to get up there. As you can see, we had above average volume coming up into the 200-day previously. But the stochastic is poking up, so that could come up. Let's see, I'll look at two more for today. Earlier, I've been watching HRB, H&R block. This one, I'm looking for a short position instead of a long position like with the Meta and AMD. Although right now, we're getting another turn up, but volume is so low that I wouldn't play this to the long side. I'm waiting for this to break its 200-day moving average, and then with this flagpole pattern, it's definitely going to come down pretty hard. If we could just get some more selling volume into it, as we can see, we started coming below it, and then we got a little bit of buying volume, probably just reaction with the rest of the market coming up a little bit. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one, and I would expect that to come down soon. For the last one for today, I'll look at McDonald's. That one's had some pretty decent strength. It's staying green or flat on market red days. And yeah, as you can see here, over the last few days, it's pushed up a bit. The long-term trend is going up. And we've had about average volume. So we'll see if that continues. Could get a decent run up. And my daughter wants to say hello and maybe goodbye for the video. Want to say goodbye? Thanks for tuning in.